on. There we are. And we are live. Oh, Laura's here. Hi, Laura. And we'll see who else joins us here in a moment. Can you see us and hear us okay? Um, Hi, Stephen and Walter. Hey, no cover charge. GT. Hi, GT. You're new. Welcome. And where are you from, GT? And we'll just see who else will be joining us. That's great, Laura. Thanks. Laura says she can hear us and see us okay, so that's good. So, well, we'll wait here. We got about 5, well, 2 of them are us on here. It's Mother's Day today, too, so people may be, I don't know, guess nobody's taking their mother out for dinner tonight. Seeing as how we can't. From Maryland. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Did you just find us? Or have you been one of our lurkers? We do have lurkers. And, okay. So, oh, Aunt B's here. Hi, Aunt B. Okay, well, we'll just get started. Other people will probably join in as time goes on. So today we have, oh, Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. We have a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to talk, our main topic today is going to be how we see traveling changing once we get back to...
Lurker type.
What's that?
GT is a lurker.
Oh, lurker type, okay. Well, I'm glad you've come out of the shadows to join us. So, as I was saying, today's topic is going to be about travel from our point of view. After, if we ever get back to where we can travel. And we had a request for studio tours. So we are going to attempt to take you with us to see where we do our sewing, our quilting, our crafting, all that kind of stuff. There's about 3 different locations in this house
You're not
for
going
that.
to show my workshop, are you?
Oh, your workshop, oh God, that's not a creative area, that's just a mess. But maybe, it's part of the sewing room actually, mine. And, but before we do that, let's talk about my mother. She's driving me mental. Okay, it's Mother's Day, I know. Happy Mother's Day for all of you that are mothers. There's several ways I could say that, but whatever. So I called her about an hour ago. And every time I call her lately, I don't know if her hearing is going or she just hasn't figured out how to use her phone. Because she says to me every time, I can hardly hear you. Well, she says, there's something wrong with this phone. And I said, Mom, I don't think there's anything wrong with your phone. Well, maybe it needs charging. If it needed charging, Mom, you'd be hearing a beep in it, and I wouldn't be able to hear you.
Actually, I don't think she's holding it up to her ear.
Well, that's what I keep telling her. Well, I'm holding it up to my ear, she says. And I said, Mom, it's got a small hole. You got to sort of move it around, you know, it's like a cell phone. Sometimes you don't have your cell phone in the right spot, you know. You have to adjust it. And I can't tell her how to, I said to her, why don't you get somebody there at the nursing home to look at your phone and see if your volume is turned up all the way. Because I can't tell her how to do that. Because your phone is different from the phone I have, and it wouldn't matter if I told her anyway, she would still not be able to do it. But there'll be somebody there in the home will have experience, they'll know how to do it. Yeah. You know, if I could see the phone, if I was there with the phone, it wouldn't be hard to figure it out.
I think it's that center button, I think and the problem with her is she puts her hands all over the phone when she talks.
And then she'd hang up on me, so.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, she probably pushes it herself while she's talking.
Well, that's probably a possibility too. But anyways, I just talk louder. Of course, mind you, my brother called her, and well, your brother called, Craig called, and it was the same thing when he called. I could hardly hear him, but he did something, and it made it better. Of course, because my brother can do anything, because he's golden boy. So anyways, there wasn't much there to talk to her about. She did get tested for COVID this past week. because our government in our province has made it mandatory now, little too late, that all nursing home residents and staff need to have to be tested. So she got tested, and she says, "Well, we haven't heard the results yet." And I said, "Well, Mom, they're going to call me if there's anything to worry about." They said, "I think you're okay." But anyways, and then she was complaining about her roommate, on the phone all day, all night long. And she talks so loud. Can't you hear that? Well, I could hear her TV set, my mother's TV set, because that's one of the reasons she can't hear me, because her television's on full blast. And then there was other people talking, but I don't know whether it was her roommate on the phone or whatever. I mean, I've met her roommate, and her roommate seems kind of like a quiet person. So I don't know. It's just always something, so you kind of just take it as it comes, because it won't make any difference. But anyway, she's fine, so that's the main part, I guess, of the whole thing. Hi, Anita. Hi, Andy. So anyways, yeah, she's fine on Mother's Day. Can't send her flowers, can't send her, well, I could have sent her a card, but they're going to keep the cards in quarantine in a plastic bag for 48 hours. And they said no flowers. They would not accept any deliveries or anything at the door, and rightly so. So, I don't think my mother even realized it was Mother's Day. So, I guess my sister called her yesterday, and yesterday was my sister's wedding anniversary. And so, I guess her son, my nephew, he's of course quarantined with them, him and his sister, and they're both basically young adults. You know, dropping your nuts all over the floor.
Yeah.
And he was cooking them dinner. And so he got, actually, it looked half decent. He was doing some kind of steak and asparagus, and he made creme brulee, I think. And my sister said maybe he should become a chef. Well, he might as well, because I don't know what he's going to do with his degree. I don't even know what his degree is going to be in. I'm not even sure if he's going to have a degree yet. He should have. You only have one course left to complete, and he's doing that online, so I don't know. But whatever. Oh, Janine says hello. Hello, Janine. And Anita says we're having a storm here now in Ohio. Snowstorm or rainstorm? We had snow yesterday. I didn't stay, but yeah, maybe.
It's been raining today.
Yeah.
It's kind of crummy out.
Yeah, we haven't had many good days in the last, for the beginning of May.
It's been cold too. So.
Yeah, it's been cold, like -1, 2 at night. And only, like today, I think the high is what, about 5?
Yeah, it's 5
Celsius. So anyways, so how's everybody doing with our quarantine? I know that people are probably itching to get out, and our governments all seem to be working on plans for opening things up. I think we just opened up our garden centers on Monday, and I think actually hardware stores opened up too this weekend. Mm-hmm. Of course, they have protocols for all of this. It's not like you just walk in and do what we used to do. But I don't know. I still think it's too early for any of this. But there's a big demand from people to get out there again, but I think it might be a mistake. But who knows? Time will tell. Anita says rain and wind. And Bonnie says we have opened up a bit more on Friday. We can now have 10 people together with safe distance. I don't think they're letting us have any more than 5. I haven't really heard if they've made any changes on that at all. Aunt B says, when we do go out, it is crazy. Here in South Carolina, it's like nothing is going on. No masks. People are
not staying
staying away by the 6 feet. There's going to be a second wave. And the second wave is probably going to be worse than what we have been going through now. I guess China's had it, but China's been very tight-lipped about the whole thing.
I don't know if you can believe what comes out of China's.
No, you can't. But this information is not coming from China. It's coming from other sources. But China's not saying much about it. GT says, concerned about early opening, but otherwise doing good. And Aunt B says, I wear my mask and
Deter away from those that.
detour away from those that won't stay away from me. Yeah,
Well, we try not to go out.
yeah, we just don't go out. Although we did go out yesterday, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But feel we may be in a Groundhog Day routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Laura says, agree, Stephen. Too early to reopen, and a second wave is imminent. Yeah. I mean, I know people are getting antsy, but we got to do it. I mean, there's no other way around it. So, anyways,
Actually, I think I'm getting used to it.
yeah. Well, I haven't found it a great, horrible hardship. Save money, that's for sure. Anita says, on Tuesday, they open up all the retail here in Ohio. We were at Target today, and I was amazed how many people won't wear masks. Yeah, I don't get it. Especially the States right now. The States have had the most cases, far more than Italy and Spain, and the whole bit.
Mind you, the population's much
Well, the
higher.
population is higher too. Yes, that's true. But really, the even more reason for the States or North America in general, we're not third world countries here. We should be listening to what we're being told by the health
Our
authorities.
local Costco had an employee test positive.
Yeah, that's not good. Well, Costco though is, from what I've heard, Costco, like they line them up outside and you've got to be 6 feet apart from everybody. And they have marks on the pavement for it and the way it's all set up. But once you get into Costco, at least I heard, now I haven't been to Costco since this thing started to see what it's all about, but I've heard once you're inside Costco, people are not staying apart from each other. And I don't know if they've got, like, I've heard that certain stores, like grocery stores, have one-way aisles and things. I don't know if Costco's doing that in our end of the world. Maybe they are.
We haven't been to Costco.
We haven't been there, so I'm not
We've
sure.
ordered online from them, and we've ordered online for our groceries too. So
Yeah. Anita says, I'd rather be safe than sorry when sick with it. Yep. And Bonnie says, I have no problem with it. I like doing my own thing. And GT says, we have moron virus. Anita says, Andy says, I'm an American, so I can say that our arrogance will do us in. Yeah. But we've got some
we've
arrogant
got people
ones here too.
Like and I actually was in the grocery store a month or so ago. Here's this old guy, of all people, old guys. He wasn't social distancing, and he was like, people were trying to stay away from him type of thing. And he was just on his merry way as if nothing was happening and everything else. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, fine if you're that way, but just stay away from me.
Yeah, Anita,
I mean, I don't even like people getting too close to me on a good day, even before coronavirus got started.
No, that's true. GT wants to know what we're drinking and snacking on. Okay, we are eating celery sticks, carrot sticks, hummus, and cheese dip. Walter did wings last night, so we had these veggies with it. We're eating what's left of the veggie dip with it, and then some nuts. And what's in the drink?
Well, it's frozen strawberries, frozen mixed fruit, and a can of apple cider. That's basically the booze part. And so it's a light drink, and it's almost
It's scrapings.
Tiny bit of cranberry juice.
It's scrapings from the freezer.
So we're drinking our fruit and eating our vegetables.
Yes. Yeah, we're being healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, that Dr. Fox is, he's Fauci or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah?
He's quarantining. There's a bunch of them in the White House that had got contact with somebody that was COVID positive and are now quarantining.
Wonderful. Yeah. Any chance that Trump has it? I guess we can only wish. Well, that's not nice. Shouldn't wish that on him. But
No.
I do.
No,
At least the drinks look like they taste good. Yeah. They're
actually they're very fruity.
They're very fruity. So actually that's to answer. We got an email this week you know how I'm always asking for suggestions for topics and things like that? Well, oh, maybe this is GT. GT, is this your email? Are you Gary? You know, I won't say your last name. Because that was one of the things Gary wanted to know. He said, let's see. Could you describe your snacks and drinks before each show? We noticed the drinks were different in your last show. Yeah.
Well, they're always fruit.
Yeah.
Mixed up, so they're different colored depending on what kind of fruit's in it. And then sometimes I put vodka in it. Well, I've noticed we had some cans of cider downstairs that's been in the fridge for a while, so I thought, well, let's use them up.
Yeah, GT's Gary. Okay, so because Gary, today's show, I told you we would be working with your suggestions today. So that was one of your things you wanted to know what was in the drink. Actually, we usually do say what we're eating or drinking because somebody usually asks, but maybe in the last few we haven't bothered or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, yes, that's what we're having. So nothing too terribly fancy.
And if you look like we have dirty faces, we do.
Oh, we're growing beards. I've never had a beard in my life. He has, but
I haven't had one since 1995.
of course mine's coming in white, so I'll be Santa Claus.
He started, and I had been thinking about it, and I thought, okay, after he said he was doing it, I'm going to do it too. So I don't know, I haven't hit the itchy stage yet. When after a few
Mine's so soft.
after a few days, you hit the itchy stage, and it's either make it or break it. Then when you do it.
I don't know. I figure I'll go for that cousin it look because as my hair gets longer down this way, then you get a beard and just look like cousin it.
So far, I only have 4 days of growth. So
Well, I have 5, but yours will grow faster than mine because I can't grow facial hair all that great. So we'll see. Oh, there we go. Yes, Anita, that is true. Walter's wearing his shirt. Yep, he finished his shirt.
yep.
And there it is. Model.
No.
Hit the runway. You better work, bitch.
Yeah. It fits okay. The sleeves, at first I thought the sleeves were a little long, but actually they're not too bad.
Well, your arms long. They were a little long on me. I tried it on.
Yeah. But yeah, seems to fit okay. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. So now he's got. Going to make another one.
I bought some fabric this week to make. I was going to make maybe a couple of short sleeve shirts.
Andy says, I dated a guy who would put conditioner on his beard, made it nice and soft. Oh. Well, I don't intend to grow one down to here. Not a ZZ Top kind of thing. I don't know. I've never, ever had a beard.
Yeah,
So,
I've never known to have a beard, so.
yeah. So this is something I figured, I don't know, the other day I was shaving and I thought, no one's going to see me much anyways. What the heck? Let's just see what can happen. I mean, I always shave it off. And actually, I'm kind of liking it, but we'll see. It hasn't been. I'll see
Probably
how.
the wrong time of year to grow one.
Well, probably.
But
Everybody says your shirt looks great.
it
So
fits pretty good too. So.
yeah, you did a pretty good job on it. It's very professional.
Well, actually, if you look really close at my seams, they could be a little straighter. But
Oh
I figure for a first-time try, it's not too bad.
no, did a pretty good job on it. I wouldn't attempt it. No way. So
It does require a bit of patience to put together.
So having said that, we have been doing some shopping online for fabric. And we've had some good luck. We found one place called the Quilt Store. It's here in Ontario, CA. Prices aren't bad. The shipping is pretty good, and they're pretty fast, too. Like, get it within 3 days, so that's
you
good.
do have to pay for shipping, so.
Yeah, $12. But that's not out of the way. It comes by
Actually,
a courier
it's
system.
worth the speed of the shipping is worth paying it for it.
Yeah. So we've ordered quite a bit actually. I'm trying to build up my stash, and my theory is I have picked fabrics. A lot of them are batiks because I like batiks. This is a batik.
Yeah, it is.
They made the shirt out of. And I've got basic colors in those, and I'm going to build on those to build up my stash. But I did also buy something new yesterday, and we did go out to get it. I bought another sewing machine. Yeah, like I need another sewing machine, like I need a hole in the head. And I'm not really going to justify it because I wanted it. I can afford it, I bought it. But my other machine, as you know, is down. And I found out the other day that it could be down for a while because they had to order a part for it, which I'm not too impressed with that. So in the meanwhile, I have another little sewing machine, my travel machine I call it. So when I take to classes, it's actually a decent little machine, but it's a little machine. So you can't really quilt on it beyond just piecing. And I actually did a whole quilt on it in the last week, but it's not, the quilt hasn't been quilted yet, it's just the top. Well, I was looking around and
I offered to loan him my machine. But...
yeah, when he says his machine, it's technically not his machine, it's on loan to him because it's my machine. When I decided to get my 15,000, my embroidery machine and he started to get into taking some classes, then I said, well, here, you might as well use this machine. So, but you know, I'm not an Indian giver. So, but technically, I only loaned it to you.
Well, I can loan it back to you.
Why? I've got a new machine.
Yeah, okay.
So I bought a new machine, and I picked it up yesterday, and I've been putting it through its paces. So I just finished today quilting a quilt, one of my UFOs. They called UFO, Unfinished Objects. I have about 7 of them.
I'm using the 6700P.
Yeah. Yeah, we still have it. That's the one he's using. The one that I bought is now called a Skyline S7. It's a quilting machine. It doesn't have quite as large a throat as my main machine, but it does. It's got decorative stitches and everything like that. Wasn't a bad price. It was just under 2,000, and actually, technically, I haven't paid for it yet because I picked it up yesterday, and I said to...
You know you've gone to your quilting store too much when the owner hands you a $2,000 machine and says, oh, I'll get to you later. But...
Yeah, no, I know where you live. I'll get to you. Okay, whatever. As it is, she's getting enough money from us because I still owe her for the repairs on, well, the first repair on the 15,000.
It's a Janome. We all have Janome.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all Janome machines. I'm just looking back here to see. Bonnie says, I have 3 machines, so don't apologize for it either. Well, we have more than... I have 3 sewing machines plus a serger now. Then Walter has his machine plus his embroidery machine. Plus, we've got some old relics laying around here.
I have an old serger that was my sister's.
That's right. And then we've got my sister's old sewing machine. And we've got your sister's old sewing machine.
No, my mother's.
Or your mother's. Yeah, your mother's.
But I haven't used it in years.
No,
so.
but those ones are, yeah. But yeah, I'm a sewing machine whore. Basically, or slut, whichever one you want to call it. It's a machine. I love machines. So anyways, that was why we had to go out on Saturday. But boy, we were in and out. There it is, the box. Okay, I'll let you know. I'll send you an email about the price. Heaven only knows when I'll get that email, but whatever. Bonnie says, yes, well, I'm only person as my hubby doesn't sew. Yeah, true. But I know some people that have, like, I'm on a couple of different Facebook groups, and some of those people on there have like 5, 6 sewing machines. So, unless you've got tentacles, I don't know how you manipulate so many machines at once.
Well, actually, I kind of wondered whether he needed a new one.
I didn't need. It isn't a need. It's a want.
Actually, since his big one is in the in getting repaired right now, all he had was a smaller one that he was using. And this sort of does make sense if your regular one ends up going into the shop. Plus, if you want to take that one to a class if they ever have classes again, it's not that much. It's a little better to lug around, and it's got
it only weighs 23.8 pounds.
Almost the same features of your big machine.
Yeah, it does. So, anyways, but I'm not justifying it. I wanted it. I bought it. Simple as that. Bonnie says she uses 2 at once, 1 embroidery and 1 sewing. The third one I use just for sewing. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. If I'm doing embroidery on my main machine, I can't sew on it at the same time, obviously. So if I want to work on something else, it gets a little bit boring after a while, sitting there staring at the embroidery, you know.
Yeah, so with me, I have a separate embroidery machine and a separate sewing machine. So one can be embroidering while the other one I use for sewing.
Yeah, Aunt B says 3 sewing machines and 1 serger. Yeah, same as my setup right now too. My serger I don't use that much, but it's nice to have a serger because you know you want to do something quick. Like say you need some napkins or something like that, you can just zip those suckers up in no time. Or if you're into garment making, I guess it's great for that too.
Well, it isn't. It isn't. The way you do a shirt, it's really kind of hard to use a serger for
Oh, wow.
it. There's only a couple of places that you could use a serger.
I know that some
The
people.
way you do the seams.
I know that some people have made quilts using a serger. I looked into that at one point, but I don't think so. Because, you know, well, for me, trying to keep stuff straight when it goes through a serger, because if anybody there doesn't know what a serger is, it basically sews and cuts your fabric at the same time. And it's great for, you know, seams and things because it binds. The serger will bind the raw edges so you don't have any unraveling and everything like that. But you got to try and keep your fabric straight when you're going in. So with a little bit more practice, I suppose
Monty, are
you
you
get good at it.
talking about a long arm machine?
No. Oh, what, Bonnie?
I would like to have a quilter machine that has a frame.
Oh, okay. Well, are you talking about an actual long arm, or are you talking about a mid arm, or one of those ones that you sit down at?
Oh, you said yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I said to Walter the other day about that because I've wanted a long arm for a long time, but they're very, very expensive, especially for what I want, because I want the whole shoot and works, right? Of course I do. I want the one with the computer on it, so basically it does it for you, sort of. Then I said, well, you know, maybe I could get one of the ones that you sit at that technically they're not a long arm, but they're a big table, right? With the sewing machine out from it, so you have all the surface, and you do your free motion quilting with that. I'm not very good at free motion quilting though, but I might be better at it if I had something like that. But then again, they're not that cheap either, and are you just wasting money? You know, that you can take that same money and put it towards a long arm. I don't know.
Serger, cover stitch
Oh,
machine just
yeah.
more or less does your cover stitches, right? A serger, and it doesn't cut your fabric, whereas serger does cut your fabric, and it does more like the inside seams and stuff like that.
So what's a cover machine?
You can get You can get ones that you can get combination machines that convert from a serger to a cover stitch machine. But the problem is, as according to the one lady that runs our shop, she says a lot of people don't like them because it's hard to convert them from the serger mode to the cover stitch mode. So at the cost of what a serger and a cover stitch is separate. You can for the cost of one that's combination, it's cheaper for you to buy a dedicated serger and a dedicated cover stitch machine
Than to buy the combo.
than to buy the combo. Yeah.
So-
If you're really into making garments, then the cover stitch machine might be good. But it's more like for hems and stuff like that, and it's for when you want to sew cover stitch that has 2 or 3 rows at once. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that well, but it's more for somebody that's into garment making.
Yeah, so
I don't think it's something that you would use a whole lot, depending on if you make a lot of garments, you might use it a whole lot, but.
like a serger machine, the reason I have one is because his sister had an old serger machine, and she passed away many years ago, and we had her serger machine, and so I decided one day, well, I want to make napkins, okay, cloth napkins, and so I thought, well, the serger can probably do that, but I didn't know anything about serging, and this is before I even got into quilting. So I got the serger out, and it took me like 2.5 hours to try and figure out how to thread the damn thing, because they are a bitch, and they take 3 to 4 threads, spools of thread, to work. And I did get it working, and I made some napkins and stuff. But I thought, well, this isn't bad. But then I took a serger class, and to learn more about what I could use it for. And they had just come out, Janome had just come out with what they call their air thread serger, which basically sucks your thread right through it and threads it for you. And when I saw that, I went, oh yes, I have to have one. And the introductory price to it was pretty good. It was, I think, about $1,200 Canadian at the time. So I bought one. And I took my classes, and I've learned how to use it. But as I said, I don't use it that often.
Like, I mean, sergers are also, if you look at, a lot of times, if you look at the inside of some clothes, like sweatshirts and t-shirts and bathrobes and things like that, you'll see a sort of a interlocking stitch on the inside of the seams, and that's a serger seam.
Yeah.
And also, like he was saying about napkins and tablecloths and that, if you look at the edge of a napkin and you see the beaded edge around the edge of the napkin that's sewn, that's done by a serger as well.
Anita says that she's got a sewing pattern for a shirt in the mail this week, but she has to wait till one day next week to go to Joann's Fabrics, or Joann's for Fabrics. They don't open until Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, it's a toy. It's a machine. I like machines. That's why I have it. Don't judge me. Okay, so anyways, new sewing machine, still learning it, playing with it. Well, there's not that much to learn because it works pretty much the same as my other machine, but...
Oh, actually, you don't have it on your list, but I had a problem last week, remember? I had my Facebook almost compromised.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Do tell.
Well, all of a sudden I got a phone call from a person that I used to know a long time ago, I hadn't talked to in a long time, and they said, why are you sending me messenger messages and asking me for my credit card information and stuff like that?
Okay, this person that called him was an ex-girlfriend from way back when he was young, stupid, and thought he was straight. And I'm telling you, she was a ball-busting bitch, because I answered the phone. Oh, Walter! Walter, why are you sending me messages on Facebook?
She's also very not technology oriented, so she doesn't really have any idea.
She basically sounded like if she had just crawled out from underneath the wood pile behind the outhouse.
Yeah, well, that's sort of her. She's very loud.
Whoa, talk about redneck.
Anyway, she was always very loud in high school, but boy, is she ever loud now. Anyway, so...
She have a good set of tits or what? Because why the hell are you...
She's not particularly good looking either, and she hasn't...
Well, you know how to pick them.
She hasn't gotten any better age. But anyway...
Well, that's enough to make you gay, isn't it?
Well, her husband didn't like it and left.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, anyways.
Anyway, and he's the guy that I got dumped for him. She dumped me for him. So anyway, anyhow, and I said, no, I haven't been sending you any messages. So I looked into it, and it turned out that somebody had stolen my Facebook face page, like my picture and created a new page under my name with no friends in it or anything. My friends list was public, so they were picking off names from my friend list and sending messages to them, like starting off with, hi, how are you today, or how are you doing, or something like that. And if they responded, then they started sending them more messages, like that were phishing messages, to give credit card information or phone this number for this, or you've won $50,000 or something like that. And so it was Facebook, or not, I don't know, Facebook. And what I did was I went into my secure, and then what happened was I changed my profile picture on Facebook, and within 5 minutes, the fake Facebook page had my new profile picture. So what I figured, it was an automated program that was doing it, because a person wouldn't be monitoring it all the time to update the pictures and stuff. So I went in right away, and I took all my friends off of public, and I made them private, and closed down all the information on my Facebook so nobody could get access to it. And I sent the other fake Facebook message a message, and I said, I'm reporting you, right? And I tried to report it, but they had blocked it as well, so that I couldn't report it. But then it seemed that the page somehow disappeared, and I haven't heard anything since that anybody was complaining that they were getting messages from me. I also posted on my Facebook that if anybody gets a fake message from me, that it's not me, ignore it.
And I got hacked last year. Well, they stole my Facebook and put their own stuff on it. And I couldn't get into my own Facebook. And of course, I sent a report to the people at Facebook. They ignored it completely. Actually, what the Facebook people wanted you to do was to send them a copy of picture ID, i.e. your driver's license, your birth certificate, passport, or something like that. And I went, the hell with that. I'm not doing that kind of thing. So I decided for 4 months, I was no longer on Facebook. And only recently I tried something and I was able to recreate a Facebook page for myself. So I'm back on again. And then there are days when I wonder why I bother.
Well, and the only reason I'm on there is that I'm on a couple of groups I'd like to be attached to, and that's all. If I wasn't attached to those groups, plus I'm using Messenger to communicate with people that are running the church class that I belong to. So, but other than that, I would have just gotten rid of it.
Yeah. Well, Gary says, orb alert. Okay, so this is Gary's email he sent to me, and I had to laugh at this one, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But Gary said, in your video titled, How Well Do We Know Each Other, we noticed a few orbs traveling left to right above you and Walter. These occurred around the 7 and 9 minute mark, with a big one at the 8-12 minute mark. So the question is, are those supernatural? So I wrote back to Gary and said, thanks, Gary, for your suggestions. Yes, we are haunted, to answer your question about the orbs. Haunted by dust, I think. Now, here's the funny thing that made me laugh about this, okay? For a couple of reasons. One of my vlogs, and I don't know if Gary is aware of this or not, and most of you are, though, that every Monday I have my vlog. And there was one vlog about, maybe 6 months ago or something, where there were orbs through the whole video, and I could see them on my camera because I was doing it on my iPad, so I could see myself and I could see these things going by, and it was kind of strange. Now the reality was the sunlight was streaming through one of my windows, and it was dust particles that were being picked up by the camera, which is probably what you're seeing right now.
Could it also have something to do with our color changing lights?
Could be. That might be making them come up too. But here's the other thing that makes it kind of funny. We have been haunted. Walter's sister, which I mentioned before, that passed away about, how many years now, 12? How long ago has it been
14 years ago.
14 years. She had cancer. Anyways, she was a bitch in life. A major bitch. Now, I know, don't talk bad about the dead, just like...
Well, she was difficult. He calls her a bitch. I say she was difficult.
Well, you were used to her. It was your sister. Of course, your sister also threw glasses of wine in your mother's face when your mother was incapacitated in her bed in the nursing home.
Yeah,
so that tells you how much of a bitch she was. And the thing was, with his sister, I tried to like her over the years when I first met her. But she insisted upon calling me Stephanie, and, well, she was extremely difficult, and in itself, that's a whole book. When she passed away, about, a couple of weeks after, I came home.
We did have some weird things happen.
Yeah, I came home from school one day, and I was looking at our dining room table. Now, our dining room table had 2 candlestick holders on it at the time, and they were... there was a centerpiece, 2 candlestick holders. Well, I came home and the candlesticks were sitting at an angle. Diagonal. And I thought, this is really weird. So I put them back. And it happened again, another day. And I said to Walter, I said, okay, have you been mucking around with the candlesticks on the dining room table? And his answer was, we have candlesticks.
I didn't know they were on there.
And I said, okay, which is kind of the answer I figured I'd get. Also, I came home one day from school, and every picture in the living room on the wall were all set at 45-degree angles. Now,
We don't have earthquakes.
we don't have earthquakes.
Very rare.
We do not have large transport trucks going down our street because we live in a subdivision and it's all residential and it's not even on a major thoroughfare. And the thing was, though, they weren't just a little off. They were majorly off. And they were all off at the same way. I said, okay, his sister is haunting us.
Well, also the cat's toys. Remember when we had the cat?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The cat's toys were all lined up straight.
And our cat wasn't that neat.
That was high. I mean, it sure could have been a slight coincidence, but that was really weird. And we're talking about 10 toys. So.
And this all happened within a short space of time. So I figured, yeah, we were being haunted by his dead sister. So I had a little talk with her. And basically, well, put it this way. There's a hierarchy in this world about who trumps who. For example, men are always trumped by women. Women, though, are always trumped by gay men. And the only thing that can trump a gay man is a lesbian. Because they'll just hit you. Okay? Or run you over with their 4x4. So I had a little talk with her. And I said, okay, I don't know where you're at, what you're up to. Just go away. I don't care which way you go. Go up, go down, but out of my house. Do not come back here anymore. You will not be haunting us. We never had it again. Now, in life, in our first house, we had a very tiny dining room. And I have my grandparents' old dining room suite. And, you know, it's an heirloom kind of a thing. But because that room was so small, I used to put the table on an angle in the room. And I have a thing for doing things that are a little off-kilter, kind of a deal in decorating. His sister, when she'd come over to our house, would straighten out my table all the time, just to get my goat.
She didn't like it on an angle.
No.
So because she didn't like it on an angle in our own house, she would come over and straighten.
So that's why I figured that she was haunting us. And do I believe in ghosts and stuff like that? I do and I don't. But I could not explain. This was just to, unless the cat was pulling tricks on us, and I didn't think that would have been effort on her part. And really, she was the kind of cat, like all cats, you know. Yeah, I might do that, but nah, I don't want it. I mean, we were her servants, so she wasn't going to lift a paw and straighten up her own toys.
It
no.
was a little bizarre.
Yeah. So anyways, the orbs, I think are probably dust in the light. We'll say they are. Or maybe they're nice little angels, I don't know, around it. But I'm not too worried about them. But I thought that was kind of funny, Gary, when you said that. Now, what else? Okay, I'm checking off my list here for Gary. So, I've told you what we're eating and drinking. We've talked about the orbs. So, the next thing he wanted to know was, how about Walter's craft studio? What kind of equipment does he use? Don't get jealous. We're asking about Walter. I'm not jealous. I know that I'm still superior. I don't have a jealous bone in my body about him. No. He had to copy me. I decided to grow a beard. He's got to grow a beard now. You want to talk about jealous. You want to talk about competition. There you go. So what we're going to try to do right now is show you the 3 principal creative areas in our house. Now what that means is I'm going to have to pick you up and take you with us to see all of this. And I'll have to wire myself to the microphone. Hopefully our Wi-Fi won't go out. It shouldn't. But if it does, well, have a nice Mother's Day kind of a thing. So, let's try. So here we go. We'll take you into Walter's room. I don't know how neat it is. Did you clean it up?
I did clean it up a bit.
You have to give me
My shelves aren't clean though.
I have to wire myself here. Okay. All right. I hope this doesn't make everybody too sick. I'm gonna turn the camera this way. I'm gonna have to switch.
Can you switch it?
Oh, maybe I can't. Oh,
I have a feeling you can't.
I can't flip it when it's on a live. So, okay, we'll have to see. Well, you can see from there, right?
Yeah.
Bring your pad and then you can tell me. Okay, so, if you want to know why the lights keep changing, here they are. Is it in the shot?
No.
Oh,
Here we go.
Okay. So these are hue. Don't move your screen because I can't. I'm trying to figure out where. Why am I not getting? Okay. Oh, there's a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, our lights are on hue lights, so that's why they change. Okay. So down the hall we go, and this is Walter's office slash sewing room slash where he spends most of his life away from me. And here are his sewing machines. Do I have it in the shot?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Janome 6700, which was my first sewing machine. Great machine. And then Walter bought a 550E embroidery machine, and all it does is embroider. And so he's put some shelves and things together under here to hold all this stuff. This is where he spends the majority of his life in his computer.
Yeah, my laptop with my 40-inch screen TV.
Yeah. Yeah, Walter likes it big. Now, this room's pretty neat right now. Here's all of his fabric supplies. Am I in the shot? Okay. Oh, gotta go. This delay thing is... Okay, there we... No, go back. Just... You can't change it with yours.
I can't change it. You got to move it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to... Because of the delay.
Go that way a bit. Okay.
Oh, okay. You can see it from there. So there's all his fabric and his embroidery threads and more embroidery threads.
And then my other embroidery threads are on the other side. But...
Well, I won't try and turn there. So anyways, this is basically his creative space in here. So if we move our way along, so that's his sewing room. And, oh, here's the haunted dining room.
We don't have candlesticks anymore.
No, because I changed that out. But am I in the shot?
I'm going to go down a bit. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, yeah, this is the haunted dining room, so to speak. And we live in a raised bungalow. So we have to go downstairs. And this part down here is actually my craft room. This is not my sewing room. There isn't any room in here for sewing things. But this is where I do my other crafts and things, and my computer.
Stained glass on the top.
Oh yes, Walter's stained glass. Is it in the shot?
Yeah, well, up higher. Yeah, it's okay, okay, yeah, now.
Okay, so when Walter was doing stained glass, he hasn't done it for a while, I said, well, I want it stained glass for the 3 windows I have down here. And I said, I want it one in Art Deco, because I like Art Deco. So we designed that. And then you can see his other 2 over here. Are they in the shot?
Hang on. Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Okay.
One is.
There's
you got
one.
the S.
And then the other one. Just wait for it. There it is. There's the other one there. And these ones are floral, because they those windows go out into the garden at the front of the house, and so we wanted to go with that. But you have seen, many of you that have been with us before, you have seen us doing our art attacks in this room, on this table. And it's where I do the camera is set up, that's where I do my vlogs and things, or some of my craft videos too. So this is my craft room. Now we'll go and I'll show you the sewing room, my sewing room, which is not very big because I saved the space. It's gonna be a little dark in here. This is our rec room. And those lamps that you see there, hey, how come that one didn't?
I'll bet you that one's burnt out.
Is the bulb burnt out? Those lamps, Walter made those as well. Just try to see if that bulb's working. Oh, was it loose?
It's loose, yeah. Actually,
I think it's going because it's not very bright. Anyways, this is where, like, we have our TV sets down here. as well. We have a fireplace and that. This room, we only redid this room about, well, it's been a while now. We were trying to figure
About
that
10 years ago.
about 10 years ago. Might be time to redo it. And then over here, this is my quilt rack. And
Our hot tub outside.
yeah, we have a hot tub out there underneath. That place has to be cleaned up under there because we usually sit out here. Not a lot of light under here, but this area is usually, right now, the chairs are kind of not where they're supposed to be and everything, but is it showing up okay?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. It's kind
Kind
of
of crooked.
It's kind of a pain when I can't see. Anyways, these are some of my quilts. It's my quilt rack. There's a lot of quilts all over the place. I got a bunch of them upstairs in the guest bedroom too, on one of the beds that are there. And then this is my sewing room, which is one half of the workshop. And it's also my exercise room. No, this isn't kinky, these things. That's what I use to suspend my quilt when I'm quilting it. And I was just doing this quilt today. Now this is the new sewing machine. This is all my fabric. I have it all in baskets up there, and then the plastic cases below are all my my unfinished, well, they're not my UFOs, they're projects that I'm working on or want to work on, organized. I have a TV set down here, so if you've seen any of my Idiot Quilter, this is the room I do the Idiot Quilter in. So that's my television monitor, and that's hooked into my computer over here and to my cameras. And this is the little workhorse sewing machine, the one that I used to take on my classes and things. And then beside it is the serger. And then this is the new beast. Just turn on a light here. There we go. This is the new beast. It's the Janome Skyline S7.
And what's missing is his Janome 15,000, which is in for repair.
Yeah, that usually sits in this spot where the S9 is right now, and it's a big sucker. Weighs about 40 pounds. So that gives you an idea. And then over here is a table, and I haven't shown them that. This is my table, more fabric, threads, magazines. These hanging up here are quilts that need to be quilted yet. And then over in the far side
is my disaster workshop.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. You can hardly walk in there. You'll notice, see what I've been doing over time is I've been building this wall to separate it. But this also serves as the exercise room because my treadmill's here and it folds down.
And his table here hides the table saw on the other side.
Yeah, there's a table saw on the other side of that. So that gives you an idea of what our creative spaces are all about. Oh, I didn't shut off. Can you shut off the light overhead in there? So we'll go back upstairs as soon as I shut off some lights down here. I hope we're not making you sick.
It's weird because there's a delay.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's too bad I couldn't flip this around to see. Of course I can't, but
We're still in the day.
no, that's true. I wouldn't have been able to. So, okay, so we're back in here. So just give me a second to get things reoriented. Take the microphone off. How's it for positioning?
Not sure.
Sit down. I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. So there you go, Gary. You ask, you receive. Simple as that. Gary says, very impressed with your operation there. Laura says, wow, love the floral stained glass.
Trim your nose hairs.
Trim your nose hairs. Great spaces. Back to the orb room. They do exist. Thanks for tour. Great spaces. Okay, well, maybe we are. Maybe, who knows? It's a possibility. Maybe it's our kitty who passed. She's still here in spirit. All 9 lives of her. Okay, so anyways, you got a little tour of what we work in. What I'd like to be able to do eventually is to gut my craft room, like right now. Take everything off the walls, take out the counters that are in there, the whole bit, and redo the whole space so that it could be both my craft room and my sewing room, with more emphasis on the sewing room part than on the crafting part, because I'm not as much into that as I was at one time. I'm more into the sewing. But to do it takes money and time, and I figure I don't think I could do it for much less than probably $5,000. So, because I want to have lots of built-in, like more cupboard space, counter space, like to be able to put all my sewing machines and everything out, and like you know, an area for cutting and an area for pressing and the whole bit. I mean, I can do all of that in that little space I already showed you, but it's a little cramped in there. Oh, Jules is here. Hi, Jules. Late as usual, made the tour. Where will your long arm go? Yeah, well, first of all, we'd have to figure out how to afford that. But you know that area was downstairs in the rec room where I showed you the lights that Walter had made? That area is relatively open, so that would probably be the only place it could go into. The other alternative, but Walter doesn't like this idea, is we don't use our living room, which is attached to the dining room area, that open space. We could condense that down and make that into that, but I don't know. That would hold a long arm in there. But I'm not getting a long arm for a while, if I ever get a long arm. It's either that or we just move. I don't think so. So anyways, that was the little tour. So that takes us now to some other topics. How's our time? Oh boy, time flies when you're having fun. Okay, just last week.
I mean, if you moved your sewing into the other room, you could actually repurpose the workshop. To put it.
That's true. I didn't. Oh, yeah, actually, I had never thought about that.
Yeah.
But that would be a possibility if we got rid of the damn table saw out of there.
Yeah, well, I don't use table saw that much anymore, so.
One thing leads to another. That's always the problem. Like I said, you know, the table saw could go out in the garage. Problem with the garage is
It's full of crap.
it kind of looks like Walter's workshop.
Now, right now with COVID-19, I
Yeah.
haven't been able to go to the dump, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in this place that needs to be cleaned up. We have a crawl space that's full of.
He still has an 8-track tape player on
I do
it
have an
somewhere.
8-track player down there. Actually, it's a whole stereo system.
Yeah.
It's 8-track with a turntable and an AM/FM
It's
radio.
probably all seized up.
Mhm.
We've
More
got
likely I had
boxes
it.
of records and.
Yeah, well, that was from university. Well, I graduated from university in 1980. So, yeah, what's 40 years? So anyways, we never talked last week about what we were watching, I don't think, on TV. Well, 2 shows I can recommend for you. We just finished binge watching Hollywood on Netflix. It's good. It's really good. Now, the guy who produces that show or whatever is the same guy who did American Horror, and he's done lots of other and Glee and all that kind of stuff. So it's really good. And the other one that's Walter didn't see this one, but I binge watched it the other day. It's called Homecoming. It's strange. In fact, you got to give it till about the 3rd episode to get into it.
Hollywood is on Netflix and Homecoming is on Prime TV.
Oh, that's right. It was Prime that Homecoming was on. I put it down as Netflix, but no, it's on Prime. So you have to have Amazon Prime to see that. What movies had we seen? We watched
Ocean's 8
Oh yeah, Ocean's 8. That wasn't bad.
on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. It's an amusing little, little crime thing. Pretty good. Well, if you've ever watched any of the Ocean's 11, Ocean's, I don't know, whatever other oceans they had. But it's an all-woman cast in this one. It's actually pretty good. If you're looking for something that's a television series from the BBC, but it comes on YouTube, it's called Nightmare Neighborhood, or Nightmare Neighbors.
Yeah.
Nightmare. It's about people fighting with their neighbors, and it's really quite bizarre, the situations people are in. It's very entertaining. That's for sure. You can't believe what some of these people do to their neighbors.
Now, mind you, a lot of it I think is
Oh,
embellished.
of
but-
course it is. But it doesn't matter. It's entertainment.
Mm.
You know, if you want reality, go outside. Look at your neighbors. So those are some things I can recommend to you. What's been cooking? Walter made more cheese bread.
Mhm.
He's become an expert in the cheese bread. And this morning, I did eggs Benedict in the microwave. Yes. I poached the eggs in the microwave. I made hollandaise sauce in the microwave. And it actually turned out the eggs could have been a little softer. I think I slightly overcooked them in the microwave. But they actually, what did you think?
They were very good.
Yeah, it was good.
Anita said, I have been watching Council of Dads on regular TV.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that one. No. We don't watch regular TV much anymore. But anyways, well, we may look that one up though anyways and check that out. Okay, so theme of the week, post-COVID travel. How our attitudes have changed or will change about it. And I mean from our point of view. Now, you know we've done a fair amount of travel. And of course, you know that we had the river cruise planned as of May 17th, where we're supposed to be in Amsterdam, going from Amsterdam to Budapest on a river cruise. Well, we know that didn't work out. And just a little update on that. Walter's filling out the forms for the insurance for 50% of the money back, and the company has told us they are going to give us 50% of our money back, but it's going to take like
8 weeks.
about 8 weeks to get it. But between it and the insurance company,
Well, we
hope, fingers crossed, we should get back all of our money with it. Still irks me though that the cruise company themselves are still getting 50% of that for doing diddly squat. Now, mind you, I don't know how it works on the insurance, whether the insurance company's going to go back on them. Because you said that they told you what? If we took the 50%, we could take the other 50%.
Well, if we weren't putting a claim into the insurance company, then we could get the other 50% as a future cruise credit, which is still no good because
Yeah. Because
I have my doubts that this company, if COVID-19, if they can't start cruising this year and can't start cruising next year, that by the time 2022 comes around, they'll won't be able to. They'll go out of business.
Yeah, and there goes your money or your future cruise credit.
Yeah, because their future cruise credit is 110% till December 31st, 2022. And if you don't use it by then you can apply to get a full credit from the amount of money that you paid.
Yeah.
You'd only get what you paid for, right? But my guess is if they can't cruise before 2022, or things don't start going back to normal again, then pre-COVID-19, then there's a good chance this company's going out of business.
Yeah.
And they keep saying, oh, we've got lots of money, we've been in business for 30 years, and blah, 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 we won't go out of business type thing.
Right.
I think that they're just I think they're afraid that they will go out of business, and that's why they're giving you that kind of information.
Yeah, I think so. So best to get the money and run as best you can. So we're working on that stuff.
I'd rather take half the money and try and do the get an insurance claim out, and we take whatever we can to get out of it.
I mean, right now we've been in contact with the insurance company, and they have said that they will cover for the other 50%.
Well, they've given me a case number, so
Yeah. So
they don't guarantee that. They sent me the forms and said that it doesn't guarantee that you'll be able to get it, but we can't hurt but apply for it, and
Yeah.
that's the way we're going to have to do. So
Yeah, Gary says if they had lots of money, they would have refunded the total amount. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So, anyways, we'll see what happens with that. But back to this whole thing about traveling. Okay, I don't know if you watch these or not, but we've been watching. There's 3 that we watch principally on YouTube that are about cruises. And I think I did on my vlog a few weeks ago. I kind of went over all 3 of these in my vlog. And they're all travel agents. And they're all trying to make it sound like, oh yeah, things are going to open up again soon. There's going to be great deals to be had. Hang in there, book now, do all this kind of stuff. They're going to be cruising in August. I don't think they will be. But here's the problem. Travel agents. We have learned over the years that unless you are somebody who absolutely cannot use the internet to book hotels or tours or things like that, then that's probably when you may need a travel agent of some sort. However, travel agents aren't doing anything for you that you can't do for yourself with a little bit of time. Now, if you're not interested in putting in the time and the effort into that, then yeah, maybe a travel agent is the way to go. But it doesn't mean you're going to get absolutely the best price or the best deals.
well, sometimes if you're not used to traveling, they can give you some advice, right? But we've traveled so much that.
And it depends on who the travel agent is. We had a travel agent we went to for years. When we first started going on cruises, for example, we used him because he considered himself a cruise specialist. And he was pretty good. But as time went on, we got more knowledgeable about how to do the things. And as the last...
And then I began to realize that he kept trying to talk us into items that we didn't want, only because he was getting a bigger commission on it.
Yeah. So in a sense, kind of like the used car salesman mentality with that. Now, I get it. It's a business. They got to make a living from that. But not everything that, well, actually, most things that he had suggested to us in the early years of when we started to travel were fairly good.
But then as time went on, it started getting worse and worse. He kept trying to get us to book more and more stuff.
Yeah.
And I was resistant to some of the stuff, and some of the stuff I accepted, but then later on I thought, I was kind of a fool for accepting that, so.
Yeah, and he didn't particularly like us when we came in, and when I say us, I mean Walter, because he tried to not really mislead us, but he would try to direct us in a certain way that was more of an advantage to him than it was to us. And Walter would counterbalance that because he'd already done some research and stuff on it. And so,
like, he tried to booking us on airlines we didn't really want to go on, and then because as time went on, airlines stopped giving commissions on their sales, and some airlines still did, and other airlines didn't. For instance, Air Canada stopped doing a commission on there for agents, right? So. If you wanted to book an Air Canada flight, the travel agent would charge us an extra $200, depending on where we're going, an extra $200 for booking an Air Canada flight, because over and top what the regular price was, because they wanted a commission.
yeah.
But then they kept trying to get us to go on Turkish Airlines or something like that because they paid a commission.
Yeah, well, tell them about when we went to China, like.
Yeah, like when I looked at China, and it was, I thought no, it wasn't China, it was when we went to Singapore.
Or Singapore, yeah.
I thought, I had already looked into the airlines and that, and I thought the best, not necessarily the best price, but the best airline for us to take would be Cathay Pacific. It was the most direct route and that we could get. And they had a good reputation, and we would be flying from here to where were we going? Going west from here.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas he was trying to book us like on about 3 different airlines leaving here and flying east. It would have taken us longer in duration, and would have to keep switching like from Turkish Airlines to something else. but he wasn't going to get commission on Cathay Pacific, so he ended up charging us an extra $200 to fly west on Cathay Pacific.
Yeah.
And I had to argue with him to get Cathay Pacific. He goes, oh, well, Turkish Airlines really good and all that other stuff.
Then we had booked, like we had to fly from Toronto to, no, that wasn't Singapore, that was the trip to Australia.
Yeah, when we flew to Australia, I had requested certain seats on the airline we had to fly from here to Vancouver and switch to Air New Zealand and fly down on Air New Zealand to New Zealand. And
it was a 14-hour flight.
yeah, and I had booked, I had asked for premium seats in there, and we had to pay a little extra, right? And so when we got to the airport in Toronto, they booked us onto the seats, and they gave us regular seats. And I argued, and I said, well, my form here says we have these other seats, right? And they said, the guy in Toronto said, well, you'll have to take it up with them in Vancouver with Air New Zealand. So we got to Air Vancouver, and we showed the guy the form that the seats we had and all this other stuff. And they did some talking, and I phoned my travel agent. He says, no, it's their problem, it's their fault, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Well, anyway, Air New Zealand gave us better seats than...
Well, okay, the reason they did was, all right, it's good to be gay. Because in an airport that there are going to be gay people working for the airport as well. So I went up to the guy behind the counter, who was definitely gay, and said this was our problem. He knew we were gay, and he says, I'll look after that for you. And he got the manager or whoever upper thing, and they gave us, it was 3 seats together, but they didn't put anybody in the seat between us, and that was great. It was actually possibly better than what we were.
Yeah, it was better than what we actually had booked.
Yeah.
Because they said that, those seats were reserved in March or something like that, and they were never confirmed.
They were never paid for.
Then they were never paid for, and they were never confirmed. That they gave a name of a woman, which was the woman that worked at the travel agent, which I'm sure it was, and those seats were never confirmed. So I had called the travel agent, and he says that's a lie. They were confirmed. I confirmed them in November, and blah blah blah, and all this other stuff. That's their fault. They screwed up, and everything else. And so I told them that he had said that wasn't true, and that he had confirmed these seats and all this other stuff in November. And so I showed them the documentation, and they couldn't verify it right at that moment, so they gave us the better seats. Turned out when we came back from the trip, I got a phone call from the travel agent and said, do you have the receipt that you paid for those seats? And I said, well, no. I said, I thought that was included in the original charge for the airline.
Well, we were told it was included as the original charge.
And then
with everything we paid.
Oh, okay. And then I've never heard back from him. And that's the last time we dealt with the travel
And that's
agent.
the last time we'll deal with the travel agent. Because, like I said, unless you're a rank amateur, like you've never gone anywhere outside of your neighborhood, anywhere on a trip, you don't really need a travel agent. Unless it's for something very specialized or something, Or if, like I said, if you don't want to be bothered with making the arrangements to yourself or whatever, but you don't need one. Travel agents are going by the way of,
Yeah, but you have to be careful, and you have to really know what you're doing, because we had a friend that booked a flight to southern, I think to Florida or something like that, and he did a transfer through New York, but he screwed up and got the transfer. He landed in JFK, and the plane he had to get on was in LaGuardia.
Well, yeah, you gotta be careful what you do. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But bring it back to what I'm talking about, future travel. Like, when I say future travel, I mean after this COVID thing is finally, when we can get back to some semblance of normal. Well, I think the new normal is going to be more and more people are probably going to book their own trips because what have we been doing during this time. If you were somebody that wasn't really comfortable with computer technology beyond, checking your email or that kind of thing, I think a lot of people are getting more experience with that now. And I think there may be less fear of booking your own stuff that way. Maybe. Or you're going to be using your computer anyways, because who knows how long the social distancing and stuff like that may be. I mean, you may be doing stuff with a travel agent, but you're going to be doing it through your computer. You're not going to physically go in. Now, I don't know how many people physically go in to see a travel agent now anyways. Maybe they don't. But that's one thing that's going to change, I'm pretty sure. But one other thing that we're learning from this and coming with our experience with the river cruise, don't pay up front. Avoid it. All these cruises and things like that, they want the money a good 90 days or more, or 120 days before the actual event occurs. That's money in their pocket. That's money out of your pocket. So, why give it to them? And watch the cancellation policies as well, because they are never in your favor. And yes, get travel insurance. And I know too many people who don't. It is worth the money. Yes, it's expensive. And when you get into our age bracket, it becomes even more expensive. Because, we might die on the trip from something.
The travel insurance on this cruise that we took was $900.
Yeah.
For the travel insurance.
So you can see why we're going back on the insurance for some of our money back, because basically that's what we're paying for. I think now after this point in time, and you might not be able to get travel insurance for certain health things too.
Well, you can't get it for COVID reasons now.
No, now we can't. But we got the travel insurance before COVID ever started. So I don't know. Another thing too, when we traveled in Australia the last time, Walter basically booked everything online, the hotels and whatnot, and he picked hotels that they weren't cheap hotels, but they had great cancellation policies, and you didn't have to put money up front. So if you can avoid that, do so, because look, who knows? The second wave of COVID comes through, or some other disease out there. You may be out of that money. I mean, again, another example of where insurance is very important is we had booked a flight to Darwin from Brisbane, or no, from Cairns in Australia. And we got to the airport, and unannounced to us, they canceled our flight. Just bango. Now, we weren't spending that many days in Darwin, but we had a hotel already booked, and we had already paid for the hotel. We had a tour already booked, a fairly expensive one, and we had that all paid up front.
Well, no, actually what happened was they had a 48-hour cancellation policy
Oh,
on
right.
that hotel. I had a cancellation policy, plus they had a cancellation policy on the tour, but we were within 24 hours. We had to cancel it.
Oh, that's right.
So we had to pay. But anyway...
they weren't going to give us any money back.
Yeah, but anyway, when we're talking about booking travel, I'm not talking about going to Expedia, going to Costco, going to another place, because Costco is actually a travel agent. Expedia is a travel agent.
Yeah.
Travelocity is a travel agent. Booking.com is a travel agent. They're all travel agents. Just because you're booking it online, you're not booking it directly. What I'm talking about booking directly is I'm saying book the airline directly with the airline itself. Book hotels directly with the hotel itself.
Don't go through one of those
Right?
Expedia, something like that.
Not through a reseller like Expedia or Travelocity or anything like that, because then you're actually going through another company. You have another layer you have to deal with
And
for cancellation.
you may book through them and get to your hotel, and they won't have a room for you.
Yeah, well, I know lots of people that booked through Expedia and arrived at the hotel and found out that the hotel was overbooked and they didn't have any rooms available.
Yep.
But anyway, no, Gary, we have not booked through Costco. I consider that a travel agent. So
Yeah.
When we book trips, we usually book flights and hotels separately. We never go to resorts much. If we do something like an organized thing, it's like a tour from a tour company or or a or like this cruise or something like that, which is considered a tour. But that's and plus, Expedia likes to say, "Oh yeah, you'll get the best hotel rate or Travelocity or whatever." 9 times out of 10, you check with the hotel itself, and you'll get as good a rate as what Expedia offers or whatever. And a lot of times, the hotels will give you perks by booking directly with them as well, like early check-ins or they may offer you free Wi-Fi or something like that.
Yeah, Kate, as she says, "Hi Stephen, hi Walter, first time here." Oh, welcome Kate. "I've never traveled out of countries. Do you have to buy extra insurance for medical?" Yes. Yes, and don't skimp on that.
Actually, I have a policy that covers me pretty much wherever we go in the world, but I pay yearly on that. So
Yeah, oh, for sure. You definitely have to, because that's the one thing that could put you in the poorhouse if you have to use another country's healthcare system.
especially if we go to the United States and have to use healthcare.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah, that's definitely it. Yes, travel insurance, medical insurance is expensive, and as I said, once you get over 60 and over 65, it gets even more expensive because, you know, they figure you're going to have heart problems, whatever, and all kinds of things like that. But I would not consider traveling without
Well, anyway,
insurance.
so kind of got off topic. We were
Yeah.
talking about travel agents and stuff. Would we travel? I don't think, as the way the world is working right now, I can't figure that we'll be traveling anytime soon,
No.
because not until COVID-19 or anything like it is pretty much not non-existent, but pretty much low risk, would I consider to travel again.
And the other thing you want to be aware of and this is going to, I think, is going to be one of the things that's going to be even more important in the post-COVID world for travel, is hidden expenses. Right now, the cruise companies especially are offering all of these like 125, 150, in some cases 200% future cruise credit. What they're not telling you is, in a year's time, if you actually can cash in on that or book into it or longer, first of all, they're not saying they're not going to put their prices up on their cruise. Sure, you're maybe getting a $150 cruise credits or 150% cruise credit, but it's probably gone up. The price of the cruise from this date has probably gone up 50% more too. So basically, you're just going to break even or less. Also, they are going to nickel and dime you. A lot of people go on ocean cruises and they think they're like an all-inclusive resort. So your booze is included. It is not. And over the years, in the time that we've been cruising, we've been on about nine cruises now over the years. We have noticed that our very early cruises, you had only one choice basically for evening dining. I mean, there was always the buffet, but you went into a dining room, you were seated, with another group of people, and usually you're with the same people through the whole cruise, and that kind of thing. Then they started to do anytime dining, which meant you walked in, you could say, "We just want a table for two," or whatever, and you might not get seated immediately, but they started to give people like little pagers kind of a thing, and that was better. But then they opened up all their specialty restaurants, and their specialty restaurants that they have, and they have more and more of these on the cruise lines,
are very expensive.
You pay extra. Now, when they first started them, you paid something like $20 extra per person to eat in one of the specialty restaurants. Now they're charging double that or even more.
Yeah, the last one we were on, they were charging $60 per person extra for a specialty restaurant.
So
and that didn't include your drinks.
No, that doesn't include booze. You're still having to pay for booze on top of that. So, and is the food any better in the specialty restaurants? Not really. It's all the same food that they have on the ship. It's just in the presentation of it.
Well, they might have in the steak areas, they might have a bigger cut of steak or something that you can get than in a regular restaurant. But we went on Princess and went to two specialty restaurants when they were cheaper, and we found that Caesar salad was the same in the steakhouse as their
Yeah.
main dining room, but the only difference was you could get like a bigger steak or something. Like
Yeah, there was, and it wasn't really worth the extra money you're paying for it. Booze packages you can buy, and they have them at different levels, and those are all going to go up in price. You can bet on that. And if you are a pop drinker or for American Friends soda, you're going to pay extra for that as well.
Not only that, it's also how many people are going to want to travel when it's the
Well, that's the other
COVID-19.
thing. And they've got it, well, they're also saying that on some of these things we've been watching on YouTube, that they're probably only going to fill the ships with half capacity
Right.
for social distancing.
Anita says here, I can't imagine traveling now, and just going into a restaurant is not that appealing right now.
Yeah. So, you know, if these cruise companies are going to stay afloat, pardon the pun, they're going to have to make up their losses somehow, and they have major losses, and they're not going to get bailouts from the American or the Canadian government, especially the American government, because their ships are not registered in the States. They're not paying taxes to the Americans government. So why should the American government bail them out, give them a stimulus package? Why? It doesn't make any sense. So they got to recoup their costs somehow. So who's going to be paying for that? The traveler as well. I think, as far as we're concerned, I think our days of traveling abroad are pretty much numbered for the rest of our lives because of this. I say the next time we go on a trip, when we can go on a trip, unless there's something out there that we really desperately want to see that's not in our own country, let's do Canada first.
Well,
Again,
we did Canada first when we first traveled.
I know it's been so it's changed.
It's been a ways,
That was 30
yeah.
years ago. So you know, like things have changed.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you know, maybe your best bang for your buck might be your own country to see. I mean, really, how many people have really seen their own country? Because, you know, there's a lot to be offered in North America alone, like Canada, the United States, whatever. Why not do those as well? But it's whatever. But I think that's how things are going to change. And I think the travel industry is, out of all the industries, I think that'll be suffering from all of this. I think the travel industry is going to suffer the most.
I think initially people are not going to travel much
Yeah.
post-COVID unless there's some miracle cure or there's a good treatment or a vaccination of some sort.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we did a lot of our traveling in the last,
Pre-COVID.
pre-COVID, because if we were holding off for now, well, we may never have gotten to Australia or other places we wanted to go. But anyways, that's just one of the things that's going to happen in our post-COVID
Yeah,
world.
so I would imagine that there's going to be more
More
flee to Canada illegally. I don't think so. You still have to immigrate here to get here.
Oh, we're not encouraging the Americans to come here. No. Not with the way that your government, their government is handling this whole COVID thing. Oh, no. I mean, this is going to really piss off the Americans on here, but I said a way to solve the problem is, since Trump wanted to build a wall for Mexico, I think we should be lobbying for a great big huge geodome all over the entire United States, and then we suck all the oxygen out of it. Oops. I'm joking. Maybe just put it over Washington, okay? I don't know. That might solve a lot of problems there, but who knows? I'm just being funny, people. Don't get too upset with me. But anyway, so yeah, well, that's about all I want to say about travel. So we've got things off of our list from Gary. So if anybody else wants to send us some ideas for things we can do, because I'm still trying to think about things, and I'm just looking here. I've got a little list of things. None of them are really grabbing me. Oh, I thought maybe another thing we could possibly look at is post-COVID finances. Like, what's going to change as far as our taxes, paying for things. How are people going to survive that have lost their jobs during this time?
Okay, a lot of people are saying, like, even if they open up stuff, they're not crazy about going to restaurants right now.
Mhm.
And so I imagine there's like going to be a lot of restaurants that go out of business.
Well, the other thing too is that shopping in general is going to change, isn't it? Because we were already ordering things online. We were doing that before the COVID virus, but now, in our case, like I told you, we were buying fabric online. We buy our food all online. We buy a lot of things online. So that might be something to talk about maybe next week a little bit. How our way of handling our shopping or finances will
Laura
be.
said she shudders to think how our taxes will skyrocket.
Oh yeah, they're going to go sky high because they got to pay for in Canada the money that they're handing out to businesses and students and everything. I mean, we had a deficit. Suddenly, where's this money coming from? But anyways, I don't want to get too much into that topic today. That's something to talk about next time. So maybe next week we'll talk about the world of finances, how things will change once we get out of this thing, how that's going to happen. Anyways, I think that's all we need to talk about today because that's our time. So thanks for joining us, everybody, today, and I hope those of you that just popped in, like Gary and Kate, hope you guys will become regulars as well. And as I said before, if you've got something you want us to discuss or talk about, whatever it is, just send us an email or put it in the show notes below. Either way, I'll get it. Email address is mine. It's just my name, Stephen Bland, so Stephen with a V. And Bland, yes, flat, boring, monotone, tasteless, BLAND, at sympatico.ca, sympatico-ca. And we'll run with it.
Yep. Have a good week. And happy Mother's Day to those of you that
are mothers. There's something funny about that. Okay, see you all later. Yep. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.